feels like it's been a long time since we've been on the stream. Let's see, what's going on in the world? We can talk about it. There's the Epstein stuff. There's more flooding going on in Texas. Apparently, we're in for a very strange weather year. I saw this thing on the drive home today. It said that this year we're gonna have some very interesting weather. So get ready for that. And yeah, there's gonna be like another flood in Texas. I saw this really interesting thing earlier, and I had to look into it because I couldn't believe it. Have you guys heard about the Shakopee? I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Shakopee tribe. They're in Minnesota. Apparently, each one of their members earn about $1 million a year from their tribal casinos, right? And they have apparently okay. Let's break down some numbers real quick. They have about 700 members of this Native American tribe, and they apparently operate the largest Native American casino out there, right? And each member earns about $1 million a year. That's crazy. Have you guys saw this or not? Okay. So how I first learned about this was I was scrolling through. I think I was scrolling through Facebook, and then I saw like a reel or a video pop up, and it was like talking about this Native American tribe that earns $1 million a year, right? So I got, whoa, what is this? So I watched it, and I was like, this can't be right. It said like they're like 90. It said, I believe they said that work is voluntary for this tribe, and keep in mind there's 700 of them, right? And 92% of them are on unemployment. They said like work is voluntary for them. They work if they want to. So 92% of them are actually unemployed, but they all earn about $1 million a year because they each get a cut of how much the tribe makes a year, right? And so they have a horse track, they have the casino, they have hotels, they have fitness centers, they basically run that Minnesota area. Apparently this tribe earns about $2 billion a year or something of that nature, right? And okay, so this is what I was thinking. This got me thinking, right? So like this Indian tribe, this Native American tribe, each one of them earns about $1 million a year, right? There's 700 of them, right? So they take in about $2 billion from this casino thing. This is where I'm going with this, okay? If you guys haven't heard, there was that idea that was floated a while back about the Gaza resort, right? And I'm thinking now, if this Native American tribe, right? Keep in mind, it's on a smaller scale. There's only 700 of them. If they can earn $1 million each a year from their stake in their the Indian casinos, right? If America funds and builds the Gaza Riviera, right? I feel like what would make the most sense is that we all get a piece. Like, well, let's break it down real quick, okay? Let's say there's what is it? There's 300 million Americans, right? Let's just say no. Okay, no. Let's say you have to be an adult to get a piece of it. I'm pretty sure that'll cut it down to like maybe 200 million, right? Let's say once you turn 18, you get a piece. There's 200 million Americans. let's say this, I say it works out to be like we'll all get like $5 a year, and that's $5 you didn't have before. How how excited would everybody be? Hold on, let me get my tweezers. Okay. How excited would everybody be if you got an extra $5 a year from the government? Right? That would be kind of interesting. I don't know. That is a cool case. I bet you if Donnie, Mr. Trump, Donald Trump came out with that idea that if we fund this Gaza, the Gaza resorts, right? That if every American gets a piece of it, that I bet you it's actually going to be super popular, right? I don't know. I feel like I don't know. After hearing this thing about this tribal and just Native American tribe that earns hold on that earns about $1 million a year from the tribal casino, I feel like everyone's gonna be super on board. Oh man, I feel like I gotta recut this whole thing. Yeah, I feel like. Alright. Scrap this. Come with me. Come with me. Yeah, no, I feel like that's gonna be super popular if you break it down that way. That every American gets a cut. If you guys are just joining now, I'm talking about this Shakopee tribe out in Minnesota, and there's about 700 members. And apparently, each member gets about $1 million a year because they all get a cut of what the tribe brings in, and the tribe reportedly brings in about $2 to $3 billion a year, right? And so it works out to be each tribal member gets about $1 million a year, and that's from their little operation that they got going on. I mean, you can't say it's little. That's from their operation that they got going on in Minnesota. Apparently, they're the first Indian casino to ever open, right? And they've been doing it for a very long time. They have. Oh my, sorry, cutting this thing. All right, they have gyms. They have racetracks. They have um, like trailer parks. They have storage units. They have basically. Apparently, they're the largest employer in that whole area. They basically run this Indian tribe basically runs Minnesota apparently. I'm not from there, so I don't. Maybe if someone's from there and more familiar with it can speak more about it, but apparently they are big time over there, and none of them have to work or do anything. And it kind of reminds me of how Norway works. If you guys don't know Norway, um, they have, I believe, someone could also correct me on this. This is just what I've heard, but I believe it's pretty much fact. I believe Norway, they have rights to the largest, I believe, underwater oil reserves. Basically, Norway is a small place, but they own rights to all the oil or natural gas or whatever it is that's in the trenches and the waters in that area, and they put all the revenue from that to their wealth fund, and that gets distributed to Norwegians, the citizens, right? And that's how they subsidize all their programs that they have, like their education program, their, I don't know, vacation program. Okay, do you know that in Norway it's mandatory to take a vacation every year? You have to. Like it's a thing. that they have to go. You have to go somewhere. At least that's what my cousin told me. That in certain parts, certain times of the year, Norway basically shuts down, and they have to. You have to go about, you know, get cultured apparently, and so that's how they're able to fund all their social programs with their oil wealth fund that they have off the coast. Okay, so back to what I was talking about. So this Indian tribe thing, right? And I was thinking, what if how can America get something similar? Because that's what I feel like that's what we need with like the way AI is going, and all the jobs that are taking out. I mean, in a way, Andrew Yang was correct that we need a universal basic income, and in a way, I feel like they had the money to do it. I forget what was the math, what it worked out to be, because it's been a while since anyone's talked about Andrew Yang. But as the AI is like gearing up, and you're seeing the displacement. I mean, I don't know. You guys saw over the week. This is another thing I saw over the weekend, that and Intel's not even a company that I've like. I remember when I was a kid, like Intel was like the shizzy dizzy, you know, and it's not a company that I even like think about anymore. And I was like, oh, Intel! I completely forgot all about them. And I guess for the first time ever, they have fallen out of the top 10 of chip manufacturers, right? And the CEO is coming out and he's saying that it's because of they're falling behind in the AI race, and that now they are starting to gear their stuff more towards AI stuff and going away from whatever they were working on. Who knows what they were working on before, but they're moving towards uh, catching up to Nvidia and doing more AI stuff, right? And that's just like it's ripping through things. And I was thinking, you know what, dude, it was crazy. Andrew Yang was talking about this like 10 years ago, when it was just when I guess at the time, what was it, it was the truckers that were getting demolished, right? Truckers were talking about this is when autonomous driving first started to come out, and truckers were like all like scared. They're like, these cameras are gonna replace us, and coding for truckers became a thing, which I feel bad for truckers. Okay, any trucker out there that actually did the coding for trucker thing, I mean, that was I remember talking to my brother about this. I was like, you know how crazy it is that they're like, oh, truckers better learn to code. Everyone that learned how to code are basically getting replaced right now. So imagine you're a trucker and you learn to code, and now the for some reason, intelligence just has this thing against truckers, because it's like, truckers, you guys better learn how to code. And once they learn how to code, it was like AI is now taking all the coding jobs. Truckers just cannot get a break. And I cannot get a break on this. Oh my god, I'll fix this. I'll fix it later. Gonna get a break off this. Okay, we're gonna fix this. Boom, boom. Okay, we're going. Okay, what else is going on? That's all I want to talk about that. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. I feel like that's the way things are gonna have to go eventually, because at some point, especially right now, that there's lots of talks of going backwards in time. I mean, maybe that's the idea. Maybe we just like shut ourselves off and go. Okay. This, like, it feels like we're heading towards that England route. I saw this other thing last night as well, and I was thinking like, it feels like we're slowly becoming England, because England was our big brother, right? They were ahead of us. At the time, they were considered like, London was the shizzy but dizzy. That was the place, right? And then they just got left back into. If you go back to Europe, if you had a chance to go to Europe, right? It feels like they live in a different time period, right? They they do everything the old traditional way, and I feel like that's what we're becoming in America. We're becoming old school way, like of doing things. I mean, the initiatives, especially right now, with the initiatives, seems like we're going back to coal, like old industries. We want to go back to, I don't know. It seems like manual labor is coming back. Oh, the trade skills are coming back. And then you go to Asia, right? They are like, seems like they are light years ahead. And it's just, maybe that's just the natural progression of everything. Okay, well, no, back to the England thing. The reason why I say England is so old is I saw this article about this kid that passed this test, and it's to drive the black taxi. And I guess this is the thing. I didn't know this is the thing, but apparently, you need a special license in England to drive a black taxi, and it's like the cream of the crop taxi driver to drive the black taxi. And have you guys heard about this at all? I had no idea until I saw this thing about this kid. He's the youngest ever to pass the black taxi license at 21. And to take the black taxi test, you basically need to know all the roads, ins and outs of all the roads in England, right? And they said something like, oh, there's 16,000 roads or 1,600 roads. I don't even know how many roads they said it was. It's a big number of roads that you have to memorize, and you have to know all the routes, and all the shortcuts and all the nuances, I guess, of every single road. And I don't know if you guys been there. I hate driving to places I haven't been, because like every city or everywhere they do their roads just a little bit different. Like, what I'm talking about. It's like this road randomly merges here, or oh, did you know that this light here, it says here no turn on red, and you got to know that, right? And most of the people that know that are from that area, but you're visiting, you're like, I didn't know that, right? And stuff. And so this kid passes this black taxi license in England, right? And I was like, this is the most useless thing to have. It's like they're pretending that navigation doesn't exist, right? Like, why does someone need to know all the roads to drive this black taxi when there's navigation? And especially if you're like on a better, newer navigation system, you can enter in all the stops and all the routes that you plan to go. Like, you could plan your whole trip, right? And it will adjust to traffic. Like, you expect this kid, or anybody actually, any of these people, the black taxi driver, to drive around Europe, maybe not even use, like, I bet you they're just gonna use Navi. Like, I don't understand why they need to know all the nuances and ins and outs of all the roads, right? And like, if traffic jams up on like 5 streets away, and you're just driving off the top of your head, you're not gonna know that traffic drives, like piles up, unless I guess you're gonna say like, oh, if you were an experienced driver, you should know that at 5 o'clock, this road here jams up. But I'm like, who cares? Navi is there. And Navi will tell you there's traffic here, and it will redirect you. Like if you're on a one of those more the better Navi systems, it will reroute you. So yeah, that's one of those old school things that they probably didn't change, and it was like, oh, this is how we've always done it, kind of idea. This is the way it's done. This is tradition. And I'm like, okay, that's great, but this person just spent all this time studying for this exam, and it's a useless. Sorry, you're gonna come with me real quick. Forgot my orders. Spent all this time studying for this black taxi driving testing, and it's an obsolete art form. You know, it's like unnecessary. And that's what I feel about how I feel where America is going right now. It feels like we are becoming the new, like Europe. Like they don't even believe in ice in their drinks. They do it the old way. I bet you there's someone in Europe still getting ice from a lake. Like frozen. And it's probably like $80 billion. It takes so much work for that one person to collect ice the old school way, the way that the guy from Frozen was doing it. You know, I don't know. It just seems like it's one of those. There's one thing about tradition, and there's one thing about, you gotta move with the times. And I always found it funny that like everyone's talking about coal in America. We're like, oh, we want coal. We want to bring coal back. I'm like, no, coal is dead. And besides, every single time anyone tries to bring back coal, the same thing happens, and it's like no one ever learns their lesson. Anytime you give any of these coal companies money, all they do is get more all right, controversial topic, but oh my god, I can't read it fast enough, sorry. But the peak oil theory, most recent predictions were okay, 2020, 2060, things are gonna get complex. They can, oh my god, liquefy coal. Can they? That sounds kind of cool. So you're saying they've made advancements in coal that they can liquefy it. Interesting. And I'm imagining like a coal paste. I don't know. I just feel like, but okay, the thing about coal, and because the reason why coal is a big political topic of every single time, every election cycle, no one ever cares about coal until it's election time, and it's because of the where the most important voting states are, like that whole area. There, a lot of them are in coal country, coal towns, or coal states that were big or developed because of the coal industry, and all those states got decimated when we all moved away from coal. And there's those ghost towns, right? They're out there where they used to be thriving towns, and now everyone either moved out or there's no money there because that town was employed by one company, and there was like one thing that whole company did. They still have ghost towns. Yeah, they're on fire. Yeah, okay, yeah. So this is what I'm talking about. So the coal thing becomes a topic every election cycle because of the ghost towns, and where these ghost towns are, they're in these states that are important for voters, right? They're the swing states. And that's the only time anyone ever cares about coal. And they're always saying, "Hey, we're gonna give you guys money. We're gonna bring back coal, and you guys are gonna get jobs, and we're gonna save the ghost towns." And this is what happens every single time. They give the coal companies money, and instead of hiring more people, like to hiring people from the ghost towns and whatever, right? Like, hey, we got jobs for you guys. You know, they want to open the plant. We want to up production. They just build another robot and then they send them into the coal mines. This happens every single time. And so I'm like, why does anybody ever think that it's going to be any different going forward? Because it doesn't make sense if you own the coal company. It doesn't make sense for you to hire Johnny and Billy and whoever to go into the coal mines, get injured, get workers comp, and then you got to pay them out, right? Or you could spend maybe 200,000, 300,000, get one of those coal robots, and they can get in there, mine more, don't complain. You don't have to pay workers comp, nothing, right? You just have to pay, I'm pretty sure, just insurance on the thing, just in case it breaks down. You could, call State Farm or whatever insurance company, London's of Lloyd, and they'll reimburse you for the coal mining bot. Like, it's so stupid. I don't know why everyone keeps falling for this. Like, it's so annoying. The coal mining thing is so annoying. Like, every single time. Like, oh, we're gonna bring back jobs. No. That's what happened last time, right? Where, like, I think like Donald Trump said that he gave the coal companies a bunch of money. They didn't hire any more people. They just built more robots, and they're like, "This is great. We're making so much money." So yeah, that's the thing I hate about coal. Um, but I don't even know how we got here to talking about coal. Oh, I think I was talking about the wealth fund thing with the Indian tribes and how there's this tribe out there that's making a mil. Each one of them is making $1 million a year. That's insane. Uh, and apparently, it said like 90% of them were on welfare just like 10 years ago. Now each one of them are millionaires. And I I don't know. I feel like I'm just saying it'll be funny if this Gaza resort thing ever works out. I'm just saying if that ever comes to light, one day the Gaza resort happens. Because okay, follow me here, okay? This got the Ghazians, the Palestinians, right, or some of the most beat down people. They're almost like Native Americans in a way, right? Where their story is almost exactly the same as Native Americans, right? Where we came in and carved it out, right? And then they're like, "What the hell?" Right? This is exactly the same scenario. Push them all into a spot, the tribal lands, right? And they're like, "What the hell?" And then they're all like poor and dependent and whatnot. And then this casino thing happened to them, and then boom, this they're making millions of dollars a year, right? I was thinking that maybe this Gaussian Riviera thing is not that bad of an idea. Imagine if Gaza becomes the gambling hub of the Middle East. I don't know. That is a solution out there because it worked for the Native Americans in a way. Just throwing it out there again. All right. What else do we want to talk about? I guess I'll touch on the Epstein stuff real quick. I'm kind of tired. In a way, I am a little tired of talking about it because I've been talking about it for a little while now. But today, it wasn't today. Was it today? They were talk. This whole like list thing is opening debate about Ghislaine Maxwell, which in a way I haven't heard that her name in a while, and when I heard it yesterday or like the last few days, I'm like, dang, Ghislaine is like okay. If you name your kid Ghislaine Maxwell, like every time I hear her name, I think supervillain. She has a supervillain name. Ghislaine Maxwell. I don't know. There's something about the name. It just screams supervillain. But right now, a lot of people are talking about how she is requesting a mistrial, um, because if there's no list, then what is she really in jail for? And I just want to throw this out there that there's this theory that said that she was going to release. She was trying to cut a deal to get either released or lighter sentence, right? And say that she has the name, she has the list, and she's going to release the list if someone can cut a deal with her for the list, like to reduce her sentence or whatever, right? And her appeal was coming up, and so that's why they're trying to bury the list and say that there's no list now. Like this whole theory makes little sense, and I'll tell you why in a second. And so they're saying there's no list now, and so it gives her grounds to say for a mistrial, so she doesn't have to. This is the theory, because Donald Trump said that there's no list, or the DOJ, whoever said there's no list, she can now appeal for mistrial. Therefore, she does not need to go her other route and appeal. I mean, to cut a deal to give the list to reduce her sentence. You see what I'm trying to say? They're trying to get rid of that avenue for her. Like, hey, you don't have to make a deal. There's no list. Maybe you could just get a mistrial and just get out. Here's where I throw a bunch of cold water on that. Okay, Ghislaine is in jail for trafficking, and she has, in a way, it does not matter if there's a list or not. For her, like anyone out there that's talking about Ghislaine mistrial, it doesn't, for her case, it doesn't matter if there's a list or not, because she's accused of trafficking. And it doesn't matter if she's trafficking to 100 people, 10 people. No, I'm saying there is a list and there's so much evidence. I'm just saying for Ghislaine's case, it doesn't matter if there's 100 people, 1,000 people, whatever. She's convicted of trafficking. So in a way, they could just say, yeah, she did traffic. You trafficked to Epstein. Like, you know what I mean? Like what she's in jail for is not directly connected to the list itself. You know, so it doesn't. I don't think them saying that there's no list can give her grounds for mistrial, because even if you just traffic to one person, it's still trafficking. So then there's concrete evidence of that already. So I don't think she can get a mistrial on saying that there's no list. So I don't know. There that was floating around yesterday, and I was like, wait, no. No, she is there for trafficking. Like, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm trying to say? It doesn't matter if there's a list or not for her case. She's not getting a mistrial. Because it's pretty concrete that she was involved in some trafficking action. Oh, okay. You know one thing I did learn yesterday though because okay, when the Epstein stuff first started happening, I'm kind of like, oh, crazy, and I wasn't really paying attention to all the small details. Yesterday I was rewatching this old, I guess like breakdown of what was going on. I didn't know. So he's got his island. What was it, like Saint Barth, Saint Thomas, whatever his island is called? We all know it's Epstein Island, but it has an official name, like I think it's Saint Thomas, whatever. And there's another island next to it, and so his island itself doesn't, like, I guess you don't really go. Yeah, okay, yes, it's very similar. It doesn't matter. Okay. This is something I learned yesterday. I thought it was very interesting. Okay, so there's an island, like Epstein Island, and then there's an island next to it. I guess how you get to Epstein's Island is you fly to the island next to it, and you take a boat to his island. Like you don't fly directly into his island, right? Um, or I'm trying to get all the facts right. Or you fly to the other island, and then there's a smaller plane that takes you to his island. No, I'm sorry. I think that's how it works. Okay, I'm sorry. I watched this last night, and the main thing that caught my attention was the name of the plane. Yes. Okay. Sorry. You fly to an island, and then you fly on a smaller plane to his island. The plane that goes from his island, the small island, to his island, is called the Lolita Express. And I was like, what? That's insane. And I was like, did no one question that? And this is the first time I've heard of this. And I was like, wait, what? The Lolita Express? And then nobody questioned this at all? That's crazy. If and maybe you guys don't know what a Lolita is, but back in I believe it was a book, and it was about like an underage girl that is very eager to engage in that kind of activity, and so I'm all like the to name the plane the Lolita Express is very interesting. And in this same documentary, they had they were just like covering like small details here and there. I mean, it is crazy to think that Epstein was like a math professor, and he, in a way, if it wasn't for all this other stuff, okay, I'm just like take all that other stuff out of it. If you just look at the small part of Epstein's life, and I thought this was very funny to me. If you think about it, right, Epstein's to go from math teacher, right, math professor, maybe earning 100,000 a year, right, to multi-billionaire in such a short span is inspiring in a way. You gotta just throw that out there. Or it's super suspicious. You could take it either way, because he went from math professor at Dalton to hanging out with I don't know, high-end political people, leaders of the world. It it is inspiring in a way if you're into that kind of stuff. I don't know. I just thought that was very interesting, because I forgot that he was he started off as a math professor. And it is also very interesting, I have to say, to think about their claim to how he built his fortune is also very funny to me, because they're saying he went from math teacher, right, math professor, to handling taxes. Like they're saying that he handles the taxes for like the wealthiest people of all time, and they just gave him tons of money, and he was their wealth manager. Like that part made, if you really think about it, that part makes zero sense. Because there are whole dedicated CPA firms, like tax firms and whatnot, and tax accountants and wealth managers, right? There are whole firms, whole big companies dedicated to that particular craft, right? H&R Block or whoever, like Morgan Stanley, all these companies, they have dedicated full-on staff professionals that handles taxes and all these things, wealth management and everything. And so you're telling me that this guy, I guess that has no training in this particular field, right? Um, I mean, you gotta throw the leap from math to stock tips. I mean, I guess. I mean, I I went to school for finance. I remember having to do lots of math, but you know, and calculations and analysis and stuff. Um, I just find it very interesting that he had no training in that whatsoever, and he went from here to here in like such a quick path. Like it is that I don't know. I just thought that part is very interesting. The other thing that I thought was very interesting, especially over the weekend, while we're still on the Epstein topic, is that I didn't realize. I mean, maybe something I didn't pay attention to as much. I didn't realize how the Epstein stuff was so important to so many people. I mean, I know it's like to me, I was like, oh, it's gross, it's terrible, but I'm kind of like, whatever. I'm not involved in that. I'm kind of moving on with my life. But it seems like, dang, there are whole people that dedicating their whole lives, their whole identity on this subject, right? I'm like, this is crazy. I don't know. I didn't realize that it was such a big topic to be because all the if you watch like mainstream media right now, like CNN and MSNBC, Fox News, whatever, they're basically portraying this as like MAGA is like dying or fracturing over this Epstein stuff, and I don't know, maybe someone can educate me on this. I didn't realize that the Epstein stuff was such a big part of the MAGA identity. I don't know. I do understand the part where they're saying like, hey, you said that you were gonna release the files, and then now you're trying to this. If this is not a cover up, I don't know. I don't know what is, because it seems like a cover up to me. Um, the way that they're moving about this, it seems very shady. But what else? What can you do? If they want to cover it up, that's on them. I think that the issue is that you can't cover up in this day and age when there's so much independent thought going out there that gets like sent out there. It's not like the old days when you can just send out a thought and that is the thought. It kind of it reminds me of like this is the finally I'll the press one. This is the first one. Life is what you bake of it. Right, and it goes with the other one that I'm gonna make soon. Alright. Kind of reminds me of my grandpa, right? He's older. He's definitely well into that boomer age. He's 70 something now. Like, he's still stuck into like old school thoughts of whatever he learned from whatever age that they were taught, whatever. Like what I'm talking about. It's like the random things that they were taught back then, and nobody fact checked. And like this day and age, everyone's fact checking everything because we have so much information. Back then, they had to rely on Billy from down the street told me this, and maybe someone else from the other street told me the same thing. That must be true. All right, this is the other one. All right, don't be afraid to take whisk. And it goes together. Couples. Right. And I got 2 of those. I gotta make another one. You know what I'm trying to say? Okay, a great example of this, right, is the movie Bloodsport. I think I've talked about this before, but if you watch the movie Bloodsport, oh, thank you. If you watch the movie Bloodsport, right, when you get to the end, right, if you're younger, you don't know what Bloodsport is, Go check it out. It's Jean. Do you know the other day I was talking to somebody and he's younger and he doesn't even know who Jean-Claude Van Damme is, and I was like, what? Did you? Okay, did you know that this made me feel really old? I was talking to this guy, this kid, right? I mean, I say kid. He's not a kid. He's probably like 20. He's a 20-year-old, and I was telling him we were talking about. I was with some of my friends, and then there's some younger kids mixed in, and we were talking about old movies, and we were talking about Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, and he's like, "Who's Jean-Claude Van Damme?" And I was like, "Oh my god, I feel old." That's crazy. And then we were like telling him like, "You don't know who Jean-Claude. You gotta watch Kickboxer. You gotta watch Bloodsport. You know, and all these like Van Damme movies, right?" Anyways, look back to what I'm trying to get to. If you watch Bloodsport, the Kumite one, like, everyone just thinks it's right. You watch Bloodsport. At the very end of Bloodsport, Jean-Claude Van Damme finished the Kumite, right? And he's going up he's getting on the airplane to come back to America. Right at the end, there were like, you can find, I don't know, did they ever cut it out? But right at the end of Bloodsport, if you watch it, the old one, maybe they digitally took it out. At the very end, big words pop up and it says based on a true story. And I remember when I was a kid, I watched that, right? And I was like, based on a true story? Bloodsport? The Kumite is real, guys. Right? And then later I learned that the guy that was what the story was based on basically made up everything that happened in the Kumite. Kind of like if you guys watch Tropic Thunder, right? One of the best movies ever made with Ben Stiller, right? You know how the guy in Tropic Thunder, he basically made up the whole thing. It's exactly that, where he goes off to do all this, and he tells everyone it's a real thing, and everyone believes him, and it becomes lore. And that's how my grandpa sees the world, right? He learned everything that way, and blah 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 told him it was that way, and then that's how it is, like, right? And no one fact checked anything back then, and so like, he'll be like, "Oh, what was one of the things? Oh, I can't eat broccoli." Right? I can't eat broccoli because it's bad for my blood type. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? He's like, yeah, there's this book and it's called Food by Blood Type that he read. There's this book. It's like Food by Blood Type or some weird title like that. And he read this book when in his 20s or when he was a teenager, and that stuck with him for his whole life. And I was like, that book, and I looked it up, right? And I was like, that book was like discredited and it was proven to be wrong like 80,000 years ago, right? And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, like that doesn't make any sense. No, this was a real thing. I'm trying to remember the name of this book, but he believes I've told him this and he still believes it, right? That there are certain foods that you cannot eat because of your blood type, like. And it's one of the most annoying thing that he does. Like, he'll be like, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna eat some chicken. I'm gonna get some chicken or something. He's like, oh, chicken? Oh, if your blood type, oh, you can't have chicken. Like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, it's stuck with him, right? Anyways, just real quick on the Kumite thing. I told my friend this the other day about, this is how we got in this. I was like, yeah, the Bloodsport stuff is fake, right? And it shattered his world. He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, it's real. It says at the end, based on true story. I'm like, yeah. And there's a whole documentary proving it to be false, right? And then he watched that whole documentary on how, like, the guy who came up with the story for Bloodsport, he was supposedly a special, he said like he's special forces, special ranger, whatever, special everything. He's just special, right? And he was in the army, and then they recruited him to do the Kumite, and he had to fly to this island, and he had to battle on the Kumite, and he had to go defend his family's honor, and the military didn't let him go because he was on mission, and so he gave a bunch of dates and of stuff of when this happened, and everything, and everyone was like, it's impossible for you to do all this during this time period because I believe the reason why they say it's impossible for him to do all this is because the dates and the times that he gave, he was stationed in some base, and everyone was like, yeah, you were here the whole time. So what are you talking about? And he's like, oh, maybe I got the dates wrong. And they're like, no, it's impossible for you to be in all, like, basically he was in all these places at the exact same time. And they're like, no. And I don't know, if you guys have a chance, go check it out. The documentary on the Bloodsport guy. It's hilarious. But that's what this whole Epstein cover up is reminding me of, where like you're not getting enough information out there at the same time. Those are creative. Okay. I don't know. The other day I saw a clip of Tropic Thunder, and I still feel like that is the best movie ever. And Tropic Thunder is the exact same premise, where the guy makes up the story and everyone just believes him. I wish they would make more movies like Tropic Thunder. That's a special movie that will never get remade, and I can't wait to maybe one day they'll have another Tropic Thunder type movie. Maybe now that all the like the wokey movies are failing, they need to go back to making original content, original movies, please. Like, oh, what I guess the new Jurassic Park is out, and I don't know. Did you guys see the new Jurassic Park? Everyone's kind of like, it's getting mixed reviews. Jurassic Park to me also has a special part because it's one of the first, like, I've watched that movie, the first one, when I was like 8 or so, 10, I forget. But it's like, it's one of the first, like, whoa, this is so cool, crazy movies, and they just keep on going. I read the books. I like Jurassic Park was everywhere when I was a kid, and they just keep on making new ones. Like, let it go. Let it go. Just let it go. It's not happening, guys. It's not happening. Just let it go. Oh! Alright, see you later. Thank you. Have a great day. And while I was talking, I messed up on the apron. I made an extra red one. I just checked the order. Remember, always check your orders. You're gonna mess up. Wrong color. Alright, what else we're gonna be talking about? What else? Oh, flood, the weather stuff. Okay, weather stuff is the other thing I want to talk about. Sorry, 1 second. Ugh. Gotta get this out. Boom. People want some blue. They want the blue aprons. Blue. And then we gotta get this. And we gotta recut. Recut. Keep on. Ah. All right. What else are we talking about? The weather stuff. We could talk about weather. Okay. You know what I was thinking today as I was driving in? Just real quick, I want to touch on the weather. They say that this year we're gonna have wild weather. The Ring of Fire. Like if you name something the Ring of Fire, it sounds insanely scary. And that's what they're saying. What we're gonna have this year. I mean, there's a chance of Ring of Fire. Fire Ring could be happening, and I don't know. I just think it's very interesting that that's what they named it. And apparently, that's when there are storms and going like the chart that I saw. I'd say this is the middle of America. And they're saying like there's gonna be like storms happening above it, and it. I don't know if you guys know anything about meteorology, but I know enough meteorology from random college courses that they make you take for absolutely no reason. And I remember I had to take a oh my god, I remember getting it super confused. I believe it's geology, forget, geography, I don't know. I forget because I remember getting confused with geography. I don't know. But I remember learning a whole bunch about weather and winds and air pressure in that class. And it's one of the random college courses they make you take. But some of the stuff I remember. Anyways, so they're saying what could happen this year is that this is the middle of America, right? And we're getting storms forming over around the middle, and it sucks in as the storms happen. Just think about spinning, right? And spinning wind, and to make the spinning wind, air needs to get sucked in as it spins, right? Right, and then so the storms are happening around this area here, right? And it sucks in, right? Sucks in, and it makes this area here super dry, and they're calling it the Ring of Fire. And I was like, oh my god, can you guys come up with a better name, please? Because that name sounds scary as hell. And so they're saying that that area could be super dry because it's getting all sucked in. And I don't know. I just thought that was very interesting. That's what else is going on in the world right now. Let's see, what else? What else are we gonna be talking about? Okay. Correct aprons this time. Boom. I don't want to talk about Epstein anymore. Maybe okay. Maybe this is Trump's master plan, because I am getting really tired of talking about it. But every time, he keeps sucking me back in. All right. There's this one. Okay. What else are we working on? Sorry, I gotta recut some more stuff. With the E. What else is going on in the world? I think I covered most of the stuff that I saw that was really interesting. I mean, I guess it's been a little while. I guess I could talk on this real quick. I saw. Okay. The other thing that was big over the weekend is have you guys seen this? At least this was popping up on my feed a lot. It was a story about a stewardess on a yacht, a yacht off of the name of the place sounds crazy, but she's a stewardess on a yacht off Billionaires Islands, right? You know, there's an area where they have billionaires, and she was found. Sorry, make sure that this is right. She was found with gashes and her throat, you know? And apparently it turned out to be you know, like, okay, when I first saw the headline, I was thinking like, oh, that's crazy. It's if you guys didn't follow the story and you first just saw the headline, it sounded like um a billionaire, right? Because the way that they made the headline in the media, it was like stewardess found off billionaire's island, a yacht stewardess found on billionaire's island, off billionaire's island, found um with gashes on her neck, right? That was the headline I saw, right? And if you just saw that headline, you would think, oh my goodness, she was on a yacht and some billionaire, you know, like some crazy billionaire person just gashed her, right? But if you actually took the time to read the article, it wasn't a billionaire that gashed her. It was one second. It was another worker that was on the yacht, and basically, I guess the story goes so far. This is what I saw the reporting goes. I mean, who knows? Maybe this is some kind of cover up. But the story is that one of her coworkers were making advances on her, and I guess she didn't want those advances, and he her in the engine room, right? That is the official story right now of what happened. But if you just follow the headline, you would think, oh my goodness, this 20-year-old hottie body was on the yacht and she just got, you know, thrown overboard or wherever. You know, they were done with her and they just no, no. At least what I saw, if you actually read the article, it was she. Let's make sure this is right. Okay. Okay, good, good. She was on the boat. She works on there, and some coworker wanted to get with her, and she got, you know, turned down, and boom. That's a, and few comments that I want to make about this story is that one, if she was not a hottie body, no one would care about this story because I guess this is the advantage of being a hottie body, because if she wasn't a hottie body, because every article or whatever headline that I saw about this story, they're showing her like bikini pictures. They're showing her like swimsuit pic. I don't know, like just very interesting pictures of her. They're like, oh, this stewardess here was killed, was off Billionaire's Island on a yacht. And I'm like, whoa, this hottie body. And I was thinking, you know, she's on the yacht because she's trying to find herself a billionaire. And she's found the wrong person. I guess that's the main comment I want to make. It's terrible. It's a terrible scenario. And I wish that was not the case. I don't know. I feel bad for the ladies, especially when they get like guys that maybe you feel like do not belong in your league or whatever. The hit like, because you know, when I was growing up, I remember hearing stories of of ladies that turn down guys and they get acid thrown on them. And apparently, like, I guess now maybe we all grew up differently, but apparently other people didn't hear these stories that I did, right? And I'm like, what? This happened? I remember hearing these stories all the time when I was growing up. Like, oh, did you hear about? I don't know, just make up a name. Jenny. She, she got. She almost got acid thrown on her because she rejected some guy. You know, and it's a scary thing to be a hottie body, and I could see why. Whatchamacallit, what's her name? Um, Amanda Bynes is, yeah, I think that's her name. Um, she, if you see a picture of what Amanda Bynes looks like now, it's like she's unrecognizable. And she said it's because she doesn't want to be in that situation again where some guy hits on her or whatever and she rejects him, and then either he like forces himself, or you get that like awkward like like the guy gets all pissed off, whatever. And so she chooses to be like that. um and it's because of that whole she wants to avoid this whole scenario. And it's a scary, like, how like some ladies, they're like, they how, I don't know, ladies hate each other for some odd reason, but there's some ladies that say they're like they're envious of their hot their hot friend, or maybe not even that much hotter, just their friend, whoever they think is hotter, right? And but sometimes you don't think about the 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 cost that comes with being a hottie body is actually, it's not all fun, rainbows and sunshine as well. Sometimes it's nice. Sometimes being average is nice. you know, just not not a ghoul, but not a super hottie body. I think is perfect. It You don't get, being a super hottie body is not a great thing. I, like some things are nice, but there are a lot of bad stuff that comes with being a hottie body as well. All right, boom, boom, boom. The great thing about being a hottie body, though, is if you play your cards right, doors just open for you. I I think my wife and I were talking about this, and we're just saying that if you were a hottie body, life is seems just so much easier. As a hottie body girl, especially, no one cares about hottie body guy. Hottie body guy. Um, the funny thing about hottie body guy is that nobody cares. It doesn't get you that much further to be a hottie body guy. Because you think about it. All right. A hottie body guy doesn't have to try as hard with the ladies, usually. And sometimes you need that 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 drive to get you to the next level in terms of financially. Like you think Jeff Bezos was if Jeff Bezos was a hottie body, you think he would work so hard to build Amazon? No, he would not. Like, just think about all the major advancements that we've made, at least in American tech. They're all done by like these guys that got rejected or whatever, and you got once you're at that point, you gotta get the money to get the ladies, right? And then once you get the money to get the ladies, you get the ladies. All right. All right. Let's get this done. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Arr! All right. Done. Fixed. Okay. Don't be afraid to take whisk and blue. Sorry, this one took a little while because I made a mistake. You gotta fix the mistake. Okay. This one's the other one. Life is what you bake of it. Oh wait. The T fell off. The T to go with this thing. No! I don't want to cut more stuff. Man. It fell off somewhere. Alright, sorry. I feel like this is becoming the most tedious making session ever, where there are all these like little tiny mistakes happening here and there. They need to get fixed, and it's becoming very, very annoying. And I'm pretty sure it's annoying for you guys too, to have to keep going back and forth as well. But yeah, that was the other big news thing that I saw on my feed. It was about that stewardess girl that by her coworker. I mean, that I feel like okay. I feel like if you're a young hottie body, it is nice to work on a boat. Though you get to see the world, you get to hang out with millionaires, and you know, like, you gotta have some cheddar to have a boat. You get to make great social media content. You get to be one of those people that like, oh, come with me and see what I don't know, do all day on a boat. One of those people, you know. And yeah, but you know, it's the sad part is that she was only 20, and it seems like such a waste of a life to go when you are 20, and it seems like you had your whole world ahead of you. So, you know, jokes aside, it is a terrible story. It makes me feel okay. When I think about the cat mystic situation, I feel terrible because the little campers, you know, they had their whole lives ahead of them. So sad. I don't know. The cat mystic thing is very sad. I don't know. Maybe because I have kids and I'm kind of like thinking that because that I don't know. I get sad thinking about it because it's like, ah, they have their whole lives ahead of them, and around that age, I believe they were like what, 9 or so, right? That's when they become people. So imagine being a parent of one of those kids that you send them off to camp, and I mean, I didn't know this because it's not something that I follow, but I didn't know that Camp Mystic was a big milestone thing into this whole scenario. So in a way, they Cat Mystic did get some marketing out of this, I guess. I didn't know that it was a like important thing. I just thought it was. Did you guys know that Camp Mystic was this big camp and stuff? I didn't. I had no idea, to be honest. I had no idea. I had no idea anything about Camp Mystic, and then when they start putting out the reporters and whoever, and they're like, I went there and I went there, and I was like, what? What is this place? So I don't. So I guess that's a story that Camp Mystic got a bunch of promo from this, but yeah, that whole story makes me very sad. The camper stuff. Okay, that one's done. Next one. This is taking me a long time though. All right, last 2 aprons, and we are done. We are done. And I think they said that there's another flood coming to Texas. So hopefully this time they are more prepared and we're not going to run into the same situation again. You know? You know. Okay, on my last one. And again, every single time, if you guys have been watching for a while, you know what the most popular design I have is. The one that gets ordered the most is the head chef, sous chef, sous chef design. And what did I say? Every single time, you're gonna see this happen a lot. Head chef is Greg, okay? Head chef Greg. And if you're out there, I'm gonna say it again. If you ever find this design, I don't tell you guys where it is because I like to just have you guys find it organically and just, whatever. If you guys happen to find it, you find it. And if you want to order it, you order it. But I'm gonna say this every single time. If you ever order this design, do yourself a favor. I mean, most of the time, this is the people that order this aren't usually the people that are using it. People buy this as gifts. But I'm gonna say this, okay? If you're ordering this, I just recommend, please, do the head chef, the female. Whoever the female is in the relationship, please make that the head chef. And then make the guy the sous chef. Life will be so much better for everybody in that household. Because you're gonna make an argument down the road. I'm just saying it. Okay? Head chef guy. You know how guys cook. At least this is how I cook. I literally just throw everything together. It turns out great, but I literally just throw everything together. Ladies cook with intention. Right? Everything has to be perfect. So when you think about Thanksgiving dinner, whatever, right? There's lots of hours and slaving that goes into it. Right, so boom. Head chef, Greg. Okay? And they want it all caps. I make it how I see it on the order form. If you put it in all caps, I'm putting it in all caps. Okay. Anyways, back to what I was talking about. You don't want the lady to be slaving all day in the kitchen making, Thanksgiving dinner or whatever, just any meal, and their apron to say sous chef. Okay, it's insulting. I'm just throwing it out there. I know maybe when you in the mindset when you're thinking about a couple, you go guy first, lady second. I'm just saying that when you do stuff like this sous chef, head chef apron, try to order the lady's name as the head chef and the guy name as the head chef. It's the sous chef. It just makes everything flow so much better in the household. Because that time, because I'm pretty sure the guy doesn't care. Head chef, sous chef, whatever, he doesn't care. But one day, the lady, you know how ladies are. They file everything away to start a fight with you later. And one day, they're going to be cooking or doing whatever in the kitchen, and they're using this apron, and it says sous chef on there, sous chef. And the guy's out there just chit-chatting with his buddies or whatever, playing video games, not really helping in the kitchen. And it says sous chef. And she's going to snap. She's going to snap one day, and you're going to regret life. So just avoid all that. And get the head chef. Right, boom, boom. See? Sous chef Ava. And if you guys ever had a running tally of this apron set, I say 1 out of every 10 orders, they have the guy first. They have the lady's name first. Anyways, I'm done in here for now. I'll be back later. Thanks for hanging out with me. See you guys later.